Hello guys! Today I'm going to show you how to set up the Steam engine emulator for the Atari ST. I couldn't really find any videos for how to set up this emulator on YouTube, so I decided to make one of my own. First, you want to go to steam.atari.st, that's Steam with double E, and head over to the downloads section. Here we download Steam 3.2 for Windows. In order to run the emulator, we also need a TOS file, which is basically the OS for the Atari. And the most compatible for games is the UK version 1.02, which we also can download here. Now that we have the files, we'll just have to extract them. Then you can just run steam.exe. You'll get a couple of messages and then you have to choose your TOS file. The website states that the 102 TOS is the most compatible with games and 206 is most compatible with applications. We'll choose the TOS 102.image. Then I'll just cancel the rest of these messages. Now we are up and running and can click the yellow button in the upper left-hand corner to start the OS. We would obviously like to set up a few games with this, so you can just press the pause/break button just above the page up key on most keyboards in order to get our cursor back. Atari ST games most commonly have the file extension .st. There are others, but I mostly seen .st. You can find games on the interwebs, or you can dump them from your old floppy disks if you still have them. There's a dedicated software for it, aptly named Floppy Imaging and File Transfer. I'll put a link in the description below. It doesn't work with USB floppy drives though, it needs to be connected directly to your motherboard the old-fashioned way. Now we'll fix some settings. Most of it we're going to leave at default. Click the wrench in the upper right-hand corner, go to Display, and set all three options to the largest one, so we can see what we're playing. I then go to full screen mode and set drawing mode to laptop, which sounds strange, but it gets rid of more of the black bars than the other modes. You'll have to try them out to see what fits your screen and preferences the best. I'll go to on-screen display and then turn off everything here. When I'm playing games, I don't need all this stuff popping up. I'll go to startup to tell the emulator to start in full screen mode, which is always nice, especially when using it with the front end. The rest we can just leave be. Let's go into the controller settings, which can be found, as you might have guessed, by hitting the controller icon in the upper right hand corner. There's something in here that may confuse you, and that is that the Atari ST had two controller ports, but the first one was used as a mouse port. However, Atari figured that people would want to leave their mouse in while playing, so they had the mouse port player 2 and the second port player 1. I know, right? So, when we configure this, we will want to set up player 1 as port 1 and player 2 as port 0. I'm just using a standard generic PS3-like gamepad, but this program seems to work with everything I throw at it. The controllers that was used for this system were mostly just an analog stick like in the arcades, and just a single button. Some games utilize the keyboard as well, but most games are just played with a joystick. First player first, I'll map up, right, down, left, and then a button on my gamepad. You could also hit or any button on and then select your device. However, I advise against that, so that you can set up shortcuts on the controller later on. Then I'll do the same for player 2, but I'll switch active from when scroll lock on to always, so I don't have to bother if that key is toggled or not. That's about all that we can do here. Now, I'll make a folder called Games and copy 2 of my own favorite games into it. I go back into Steam, press the disk icon in the upper right corner and go into the folder I just created. I can now press the blue arrow icon to make this my home folder, which makes it the default folder for Steam. Now, here's another neat part of the program. If you press the lightning symbol in the upper right hand corner, you get a list of shortcuts that you can edit to your heart's desire. I'll just give you some examples and then you can experiment with it as you wish. I'll delete these to clean it up a bit. Now we have a blank row. You can demand up to 3 keys be pressed at once in order to do the command. I'll select the first box and press the start button on my gamepad. Then I go to the drop-down menu and select Toggle Emulation Start/Stop. That way, when I press Start on my gamepad, the emulator either stops or starts up again, which is nice if I want to edit settings or want to switch games or whatever. I will add another shortcut by pressing Add New, select the first box again, and then press my left shoulder button. Then I'll head to the drop-down menu again and find Swap Disks in Drives. The reason I'm choosing this is because some games came on two separate disks, often labeled Disk A and Disk B. This way I can start Steam with one disk in each drive, and when the system tells me to insert Disk B, I can just press the left shoulder button. There's obviously a lot more you can do with these shortcuts, such as save and load states, toggle full screen, fast forward emulation, and so on. Now, let's head over to Launchbox to set up a couple of the games there. I'll go to Tools, Manage Emulators, then Add. I'll write Steam Engine for name and browse for the emulator exe. I'll go to Associated Platforms and write Atari ST and check for defaults. Click OK and close. I'll go to Tools, Import ROM Files. I'll press Add Folder, find the games folder I created earlier. Then press Next. Choose Atari ST for platform, click Next. The Steam engine should pop up, click Next. I'll just use the files in their current location, so I'll click the bottom one. Press Next here to get the information from the Launchbox database. Click Next. I won't bother to log into Emumuse for now, but they have a lot of great media for the games too. I'll uncheck these two boxes and press Next. The importer finds the two games and we can press Finish. We'll press OK. Now we have our games in Launchbox. In order to demonstrate how you may open two disks at the same time, I'll add one more game consisting of Disk A and Disk B. Now I'll press the Add button in the lower right corner, go to the Emulation tab and check this box. I'll choose Steam Engine and then go back to the Launcher tab. I'll press Browse and find my newly added game. Now, it's important that you only add the first disk. There's no need to add both of them, and it'll just get messy inside Launchbox if you do that with enough games. So I'll select the first disk, then remove the disk 1 part, and search for metadata. Select the right one, and download some images. Now head back to the Emulation tab, check Use Custom Command Line Parameters, and write the full path and file name to disk 1 and then disk 2, inside individual quotation marks. Like this. Now, when we start the game, it will have both disks at the ready. When this prompt comes up and asks us to insert the other disk, I'll just press my left shoulder button and then the fire button, and the game will just carry on just fine. That was all for this tutorial. Please leave any questions in the comments below. Until next time!